is Bianca with Leaders in Business Podcast, where CEOs and executives in the digital marketing and social media space share their best advice. It is 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know what they're talking about. So let's get to it. In a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Thanks for having me. My name is Ian Lurie. I'm a digital marketer. I've been a digital marketer for 25 years. I ran an agency called Portent until 2 years ago, sold it, and now I am a consultant out on my own.
That's awesome. So what's the best thing about leading your business?
I love marketing and I love communications. I'm a writer by original training, and I just really enjoy the opportunity to help companies and organizations get their message out. I'm an idealist when it comes to marketing, so I consider it a very powerful communications tool, and I just enjoy being involved in the discourse and the way people talk to each other.
Well, that's very impressive. So I hear from others that it can be challenging to grow your business today with everything that is going on. So what are the biggest challenges you see business leaders facing today?
It is very hard. And one of the biggest challenges I see is business leaders are trying to hold themselves to the growth goals of a year ago or 2 years ago. And one of the challenges we all face now is adjusting those goals and adjusting our own expectations and the expectations of others. I could talk about building your pipeline and getting more leads, but we all have to admit that's very difficult right now. And I think the biggest thing we all have to deal with is, again, changing those expectations, adjusting so that when we all come out of this, and we will, our organizations are healthy, we're in a good place, and we can adjust our expectations again and start growing our businesses more aggressively.
Absolutely. So what is the best advice that you can give to other business leaders about creating a successful business?
Make sure you create a teaching organization, and make sure, maybe too strong a phrase. It is what has worked for me over the years, is have an organization where people who come in, clients and employees and team members, all come in knowing that they are going to learn new things and they're going to get better at their craft. Or if they're a client, they're going to learn about the craft for which they are hiring you, and they're going to understand why it's working. Learning organizations tend to retain people longer because there's more reason than just money for them to stay there. They tend to be very focused on a universal purpose and goal within the organization because everybody knows, hey, we're here to get better at what we do. We're here to exchange information. We're here to learn. And it becomes a focus of a lot of activities. So where some organizations, and this is my own perception of things, I'm an introvert, where some organizations try to go out and have huge parties and do all these things, every week or every month or something to improve team cohesion. In a learning organization, you can get together to learn new stuff. And that becomes this really great way to work. And then finally, it improves the way you work with clients. Because if everyone in the organization is all about teaching and learning, if intellectual curiosity and teaching are both important, then you make sure that you teach your clients, you make sure you're always getting better at what you do. And there's no black boxes. There's never a sense on the part of the client that they don't get to understand how you're doing what you're doing. And there's never that sense that you're stagnating. You're doing the same thing year after year after year.
Well, you mentioned and you explained about teaching organization. So I just want to ask if how effective is this teaching in an organization to a business leader?
If you're looking at numbers, when I was running my agency, our client retention was about twice the industry normal, and our employee retention was about 50% above industry normal. We paid well, but we never paid, this is the wrong way to say it, but we always paid very well, but we didn't necessarily give out outrageous bonuses or cars. When the dot-com boom was going on, there were companies that were giving away BMWs to new employees. We never did that because people came in knowing that they were going to learn great stuff, and that makes the organization that much more effective.
That's totally right. So what other successful business leaders like yourself would you like to acknowledge and should be on the podcast?
You need to talk to Rand Fishkin, who has started and run 2 successful businesses now. Will Reynolds, who runs Sear Interactive. is a spectacular business leader who you can learn a lot from. Mike King, who's running an agency in New York, is another great business leader and also a great creative. So very much worth talking to.
Awesome. I will look them up. So now for the final fun question, who is the most interesting person to follow on social media and why?
I think that's a matter of, I could get myself in trouble with this one. My favorite people to follow on social media, my favorite person is Barack Obama. Obviously, depending on your politics, you may not agree, but for me, he is one of the most interesting people to follow on Twitter.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on. So how can people find you?
You can find me at my website at ianlurie.com, and you can also find me on Twitter at Ian Lurie.
Well, that's a wrap. This is Bianca with Leaders in Business Podcast. For more insights and ideas, go to our website, leadersinbusinesspodcast.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.